Hey TJ, this is your October pitching mechanics video analysis. I'm going to start by just playing through your delivery here in slow motion. Okay, so we'll start from the beginning here. Alright, so remember, we like to break our pitching mechanics down to 5 phases. Alright, hip load, hip lead, hip separation, release, and follow through. Okay, so taking you up into hip load, I like to see where this front leg is going. So it's track. We want to see it track towards our back shoulder. Alright, if you look at yours, you're tracking up towards your front shoulder. Okay, if we track towards our back shoulder, it sets our hips up in a little bit better position in order to move down the mound. Okay, so take your knee on a trajectory more in this direction. Okay, now if you look, watch what your leg kick does. Okay, your leg kick goes up, and then you go all the way back down, and then you go out. All right, so you go up, down, and out. Now what has a tendency to happen is when we go up, down, and out, we have a tendency to not get into our glutes and use our lower half as effectively as possible. All right, so watch what happens here. Okay, we go up, we go down, and then we step out into hip lead. Okay, when we go from hip load to hip lead, there's some things that we need to see. First, as we start to make our movement down the mound, all right, the first thing that goes is our hips, and I should see a slight elevation in that front leg in that front hip compared to the back hip. Okay, so I want you to think about almost kind of like popping your butt out and leading with your hips down the mound. Okay, and this should happen from the get-go. Okay, we shouldn't bring our leg back down and then go out. We should lift up and then go out from that position. Okay, I would also consider not lifting your leg so high. Okay, when you go up, down, and out, you might as well not really go up at all, to be honest with you, because that leg kick's not really getting you any forward momentum. Okay, so those are just some things to think about. Okay, as we move it from hip load to hip lead, one thing I like to do is start with this back leg. Okay, first I want to see this back leg fully extended when you get to the top of the apex of your leg lift. And then as we move down the mound, I want to see that back knee pinch in towards the catcher. Okay, so if you watch your knee as you get into hip lead, look, your knee doesn't go anywhere. Okay, when we go from hip load to hip lead, your knee basically stays on that plane, on that line. All right, that back knee needs to go down the mound towards the catcher. All right, the reason for this is we need to create an angle in order to push into the ground. All right, because we need to be able to push into the ground going this way, so that way our body goes forward towards our catcher this way. Okay, but if you don't create that angle, you're pushing force straight into the ground, and so as a result, force is going straight back up, and it's not going towards the catcher like we want it to. Okay, so we need to create some sort of knee pinch where this back knee either drifts or pinches in order to create an angle, so that way we are able to put force into the ground. All right, so at this point, our knee should be angled in about right there. Okay, that way we're able to apply force into the ground more effectively, and we're able to use our lower half better. Okay, just by watching your video, it doesn't look like you really use your lower half at all. Okay, and so you're missing out on a lot of velocity potential because you got big, strong legs, and you're not really using them. All right, so those are some things to think about. Okay, one thing to make sure on is when we're thinking about this back leg and the direction that it's going, okay, we want that back leg, we want to make sure that knee or that back shin stays vertical, and when it does drift in, that it drifts in straight towards the catcher. Okay, a lot of guys have a tendency to have that knee come well over their toes, and they create a shin angle that looks kind of like this, and that's a bad thing. All right, we're not able to activate our glutes as well. So that's just one thing to keep in mind All right, and we can talk about this more personally or later if you're confused by what I'm trying to ask of you. All right. As we move from hip lead to hip separation, okay, right here, okay, that's from a positional standpoint, that's actually not terrible. So I like to draw a line right up the middle between your two legs, okay, and you'll notice that your head's kind of out forward. Okay, we want our head and the trunk of our body, or our trunk, our core, to be back in this position. Okay, and the reason for that is that's where all of our mass is, and we want to use that mass and put that into the baseball. Okay, so we can keep that weight back. We're able to better put that mass into the ball and use it more effectively and throw it harder. Okay, but you can't do that very well when you don't use your legs very well. All right, because this back leg isn't really generating any power, okay, and because you're not really activating your glutes, but instead you're rotating up onto your toe early. Okay, so if you look at this back foot, you're rotating up onto this toe early, so your upper body has to rush out, okay, with your upper half, and so you're not able to keep your weight back and put that into the baseball. All right, so the big thing for you is learning how to use your lower half, so really focusing on the lateral drive drills. Okay, that'll really help you use that lower half more effectively and put more force into the baseball. All right, and then when we get to release and follow through, okay, we want to see this front leg fully extended at release. Okay, because remember, we have to take that energy that we gained from the back leg. All right, our front leg has to stop that forward energy, and then it's got to transfer up our body and out of our hand. Okay, and it does that most effectively when that front leg extends. Okay, so you see how yours is extending after you throw? We want that thing to extend before we throw. Okay, so checking out the lead leg block drills will be helpful for that. Okay, but for you, TJ, I'd say the biggest thing is looking at the lateral drive drills and using that information to help you more effectively use your lower half. All right, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to either Coach Glover or myself. And I really look forward to seeing what improvements you can make over the next month. Thanks.